Welcome to All About Albemarle, the segment where we talk about the things that matter to the people who live, work, and play in the city of Albemarle. I'm David Fath, the Communications Director for the city, and joining me today is our new Chief of Police, Ryan Manley. Good to have you with us.
Thank you, David. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, something that we like to do on All About Albemarle is help our listeners get to know the members of our organization. You've been here for just a few weeks now, and what are your impressions of Albemarle?
It's amazing. It reminds me of the community I grew up with. It reminds me of the community that my wife grew up with, the close-knit, small-town community that really invites people to come and play and have fun.
That's cool. I know that you guys visited here and really kind of fell in love. Let's talk a little bit about your background. Where did you come to Albemarle from?
So I grew up in Western New York. I went to college just outside of Rochester, New York. So I lived in between Rochester and Buffalo. After some time in the hunt for civil service, I was very gracious to come down here because my brother was stationed at Fort Bragg. And I just fell in love with North Carolina. It had a lot to do with no snow. But I just really enjoyed this state and the community there. I met my wife. We started to build a community there, and that's when my career started to take off. And I really wanted to progress through the ranks. And a good friend of mine is the chief of police in Bisco. He said, "You got to check out Albemarle. It's an amazing community right in between him and Charlotte." We drove through, and we just fell in love with it.
Yeah, so came from Fayetteville. A little more than 20 years on the force there. Is that correct with Fayetteville Police Department?
Yes, sir. So my total law enforcement criminal justice experience is about 24 years. I spent almost to the day 23 years with the city of Fayetteville. I started back in January of 2002.
2002. Okay. And tell us a little bit about the career progression. In looking at your resume, you really did everything that you could do in the police department.
So I was very fortunate to start on the east side of the city. I trained there for 16 weeks. I was very fortunate to be on the weekend night shift to start my career, so I got exposed to everything quickly. In the first few years, I realized that I had a knack for training, so I became a training officer. I did that for a year or so, and then I really found my passion for working with drugs and, kind of trying to get that off the streets of Fayetteville. I did that for a number of years, came out of there, went back to the other side of town as kind of a little bit of a different experience, and then I went into the sergeant promotion process. I got promoted to sergeant, and then I went from the crime information center to the white collar crime unit, back to property fraud. Then I went to the community resource side of the house where I dealt with all the community engagement and community interaction for the police department. And then I became the captain and went back to where I started my career. And a lot of the folks that I had built friendships with when I was a patrol officer, now I was the captain over the district. So we were very successful dealing with a lot of the community engagement. Mm-hmm. And then this amazing opportunity came up, and I'm very glad that the city of Albemarle chose me to be their police chief.
Just before we get started with this question, what made you become a police officer?
So I come from a very service-oriented family. My dad spent almost 30 years in the fire service and even the EMS side of it. My brother was in the military. Pretty much everybody in my family has some sort of service connection. I can remember growing up and being around the fire station, and the New York State Troopers were always there. And you really get to see the pinnacle of policing with the New York State Troopers. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And I went to college. I did very, very well in college, and now I'm here.
Well, speaking of education, one of the things that really stands out on your resume is the time that you had with the FBI's Academy.
Yes, sir.
Talk about that experience.
So the FBI National Academy is an extremely selective process to get invited to it. And then once you're there, they look at every aspect that makes a good executive leader. You have the extreme academics of the academy. You have the physical fitness part of it. And then you have the networking of, there was 202 leaders from across the world that came in to be part of Session 290 of the National Academy.
Yeah, and that's when you graduated from.
Yes, sir.
It was amazing when we posted your hiring information on LinkedIn and social media. The number of comments from the people in the class.
Yes.
You have a very supportive class,
Yes.
and they very much told us that we made a good choice. So that was great to see. Let's talk about the future of APD. What do you want to see?
So what I really want to see is an agency that is involved in the community. I really want to be part of we really want to be part of the community and not just a response to the community. It's important for me to kind of build that trust and legitimacy that the community trusts us to be there and be part of the community, but also to handle the things that they need us to handle appropriately and be held accountable for them.
I know one of the things that you're very approachable. You don't know strangers. So, when people see you out and about in the community, you always want them to come up, talk to you, and just say hello, if nothing else.
Yes. I encourage everybody that has any sort of community event, if it's a small yard sale or a big community church event, please let us know. The Albemarle Police Department wants to be part of this community. And please, if you see me, I'm always looking for coffee. So if you see me out walking around, I like to walk around downtown, stop and talk to me. I will always make time for the citizens of Albemarle.
Very good. Well, Chief, it's great to have you with us. We very much look forward to a bright future with your leadership here, and we'll be sure to have you back. I know there's a lot of things ahead, bright future for Albemarle and the Albemarle Police Department, so thanks for coming on.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, and before we go, I want to mention that we've got our first winner in the All About Albemarle Art Contest. This is a brand new contest that we started here, and our winner this week is 8-year-old Dayton. And what Dayton has drawn here is a depiction of the Alameda Theater. He says his family tells us that they take walks downtown and that he is a big history buff. He loves to see the historic architecture downtown and loves to talk about the Albemarle's Alameda Theater. So, Dayton, you are our first winner, and that means that you have a season pool pass for the Albemarle swimming pools for Albemarle Parks and Recreation. Don't forget, you can show off your child's creativity by entering the All About Albemarle Art Contest. It's very simple to get in. Have your child draw a depiction of Albemarle. It can be a landmark, an event, their favorite thing about the city. Just take a picture, scan the artwork, and send it in at albemarlenc.gov/art contest. You can also drop off the picture at Albemarle City Hall over in customer service. And each week we will recognize the talented artist on the air and on our social media page. That's going to do it this week for All About Albemarle. I'm David Fath for Ryan Manley. Thanks for listening.